All right, hey everybody. Today we're going to be talking about varnishing. So I'm all set up in my mom's house in my new studio. I haven't quite finished my next painting yet. It's right here, you can see. It'll be done soon, sneak peek. So that should be ready next week. But we're going to varnish my small miniature paintings because they're going to be taken over to the gallery pretty soon. So I just wanted to share that with you guys and show you what I do and what I use. So I use Gamvar as my varnish. I've used a couple other types, but Gamvar seems to be the easiest, and I haven't had any issues with the color fading. Like some other varnishes I've used have turned yellow, and so we don't want that. So first of all, why do we want to varnish our paintings? And the main reason is to protect the paint. So the paint, when it's dried on the canvas or wood, is actually a little bit porous. So think of it kind of like really super fine sandpaper. And over time, dust will accumulate on that textured layer, and that will cause the painting to fade. It will look aged, or the colors will dull a little bit. So by putting a layer of varnish on it, varnish is a non-porous layer which will protect that dust from getting into the paint, and it will help keep the colors more vibrant longer. Sometimes when the painting dries, different pigments have different qualities and require more or less medium in them, and thus when it's first finished, the paint can look uneven. So some parts might look a little more shiny, some parts might look duller. So by putting a layer of varnish, you're really evening out the colors so that they look uniform. So it's definitely something that you should do on your paintings. And a final note about varnishing is you always want to do it in a well-ventilated area or outside. I prefer not to do it outside because I don't want any dust or particles to get stuck in the varnish. So I usually choose a room that nobody's going to be in overnight, so I'll do it there and let it dry overnight. Let at least the first layer dry overnight before I put on a second layer. You can just do one layer with Gamvar. It's all right to do just one layer. You know, sometimes I'll do one, sometimes I'll do two. It just kind of depends. All right, so let's get to it. All right, ready to varnish. So I'm using Gamvar, and you really want to only use a very little bit. So the goal here is to try and put a very thin layer on the top. It's almost like just dry brushing it, rubbing it into the paint. The painting is very dry. This painting's been dry it's been done for several weeks, and so it's totally dry, completely dry. So you want to make sure that it's very dry, especially since you're going to be rubbing across it. If it's remotely wet at all, this will smear the painting. So I'm just going to take a tiny little dip. I'm using a toothbrush container because I'm going to throw it away after I'm done. And then I'm going to kind of rub it into the paint. I'm going to keep it pretty thin. And I'm doing it on some throwaway paper, so if I get a little piece of dust or something, I can just wipe the dust off on the paper. So whenever you see a piece of lint rolling around on there, you want to grab that off. So the trick to making it go on evenly is keeping it really thin. When the Gamvar starts to dry, it tends to stick to itself, and so if you have put it on a little bit too thick, it will actually clump up together, and then you'll have bare spots that aren't covered. So it is really important to smear it all around. And you can kind of see, like, as I rub my brush over it, there's like kind of little tiny bubbles that show up. So that's how it, again, can leave little blank spots. So you really want to make sure you give it a nice, good smushing in. There we go. First one. I usually do my varnishing in batches so that I don't have too much laying around. So that I can just get it all done at once and I don't have a bunch of wet paintings sitting around all the time. Okay, tiny little dunk. Getting these little guys ready to go to the Carmel Art Association for their annual miniature show that happens every December. It's a really fun show. I'm excited to see it. I actually don't think I've seen it. Well, I haven't been to the opening of it because I usually come down for Christmas. And unfortunately I won't get to see the opening again this year because I'm going to be in Miami for the Art Basel Festival. I'm really excited. It's going to be so much fun. Oops. Okay. This is when you really want to start watching out for dust, especially on light paintings like this one. Dust tends to show up a lot. So if you do start to see dust on there, what I like to do is just give it a good once over and then go back and start picking at the dust spots to try to get rid of the dust. If you're varnishing a painting on canvas, you may not want to press as hard into the canvas as I do since mine is on wood. As for what brush to use, I have a couple brushes specifically for varnishing, so I only use them to varnish paintings. That helps me make sure that they're definitely clean. I also prefer to use smaller brushes, not the really large like house painter type brushes, because it's just a lot easier to clean the varnish out of a smaller brush. Oh, got a big hair on there. That looks like a doggy hair. You can really see the difference on this one at this angle between the before and after. So the varnish will stay a little bit shinier and it will keep the colors looking more vibrant. When I'm scrubbing into the canvas like that, it's because there's like a tiny little piece of dark colored dust or hair or lint or something that you can see on top of the lighter parts. So by scrubbing in like that, I'm trying to break it free from the paint surface and get it into the brush to take it off the painting. Alright, it's the next day, and I'm going to do a second coat real quick for you, so you can see what that's like. So for your second coat, you can go ahead and put it on a little bit thicker. You just want to make sure to get that first coat nice and thin. Job's done. Now I have to let it dry. I use gamsol to clean up my brush when I'm done varnishing. If you haven't already seen the time lapses for these paintings, go ahead and check out my channel. They're all in there. And be sure to subscribe if you want to see more videos. I hope you found this video helpful. To my regular viewers, I'd like to get to know you a little bit better, so I'm going to put a link in the description to join my Discord server. If you don't know what Discord is, it's an app on your phone or a program on the computer. You can even access it just through a website where I have my own server, and you can keep in touch with me. We can have little conversations, you can ask me questions, you can post pictures. I post pictures in there. I post pictures of Althea, and I post pictures of food and just things that are going on. It's sort of like a personal chat room. So let's get to know each other a little bit better. There's going to be a link in the description to join my server. The link will expire after 10 uses, so only the first 10 people to join the server will get in. So come on, join my Discord server. Show me some stuff that you're working on. I'll show you some of my in-progress stuff and things that are just going on. We'll get to know each other a little bit better. Well, I hope you guys have a happy holiday tomorrow, and I will see you next week.